Hello. Today I would like to read to you from a wonderful translation called the Khaboris Manuscript. It's a translation from the Khaboris Manuscript, an ancient text that was found not long ago. In the 1950s, I think it was found. Might have been later. And I'm looking at it here. They did some beautiful translating into English from the Khaboris Manuscript, which was written in Aramaic. It's an ancient text written in Aramaic, a language that Jesus spoke. So I want to begin reading to you from it. Matthew chapter 5. When Jesus saw the crowds, he ascended the mount, and when he was seated, his disciples drew near to him. He began speaking and teaching them. And he said, "A heavenly attitude is theirs, those whose home is in Ruka. Theirs is a heavenly state." Okay. Now, Ruka is a word that the translators decided not to translate because they couldn't give it the words to express what it means. But it means something like spirit, energy, force. Okay. So we'll just say spirit, Holy Spirit. So it begins by saying, Christ began saying, "A heavenly attitude is theirs, those whose home is in spirit. Theirs is a heavenly state." Okay? Now, the human being, as you know, the human being is more than just flesh and blood and bones. We have a soul. We're a soul in a body. And when your soul is close to God, when you're in when you're in the spirit, then that's a heavenly state. Okay? Now, it would be nice to be in that state all the time, wouldn't it? Well, where are you now? Where are people, for the most part, now? They're lost in what? They're lost in the flesh. And principally, they're lost in thinking. So you have to realize that you are a soul in a body. Okay? Most people are too identified with your body. Your body gets you from point A to point B. Okay, you can move around. And with your body you can see and hear, which is good. And with your brain you can think and mobilize to do things. But we were not meant to be submerged in thinking and thought stuff. See, what happens is, I was reading about it and then writing about it this morning. So here's what happens. We go out in the world. We get upset. Traffic, other people, what they said, what they did. Okay, something upsets you. And as soon as you get upset, then you fall into thinking, because the upset calls upon your animal computer brain to come up with some kind of a solution to the upset. Okay? And then you feel like running away, fighting or running away. Okay? And other emotions to do something. And your body tries to figure something out to do. Your mind tries to figure something out to do. And you can't figure anything out to do because being upset. See, what are you going to do? You can run, but you're still upset. Or you can hide, or you can get angry and fight, you're still upset. So it's one of those things you can't really do anything about. You get upset. Somebody's in the line in front of you and they're slow, very slow. And you find yourself becoming impatient. That's upset. You find yourself becoming impatient and perhaps resentful, irritated. Okay? What are you going to do about that? Nothing. There's nothing you can do. And so you sit there frustrated, stinking in your thinking, okay? And you can't do anything, so there's no solution. So then your mind flips into fantasy. Then you imagine, see, later on, then you think back on the incident. You think, well, I should have told her this. I should have said that. And next time I'll say this, or next time I'll say that. Or can you believe this or that person, see? Then you flip into fantasy. Or to escape from seeing the fact that you failed, see? When you became irritated, angry, nervous, impatient, that's a failing. You shouldn't become angry, irritated, impatient, you see? So since you did, you failed, and you don't want to see that. Your ego doesn't want to see that. And so you flip into fantasy. So you start daydreaming about something or thinking about what you're going to do or what you're going to eat. Or we're going to watch on TV. Or you reach for your iPhone or, see what I mean? Something to take you away from reality. So what you must learn to do if you want to find this heavenly state, what you must do is, well, you should get my meditation, learn to meditate, learn to find objectivity, which is that state. See, when you're not lost in thinking, see, then you're very close. You're closer to God, and you're in a space where you can be touched by the Spirit. Okay, and for sure you're in God's light. Okay. So you don't want to be lost in thinking. You want to be standing back and observing thought instead of being lost in it. You don't want to be lost in emotions. You want to be observing thoughts. Now, so then if you can learn this simple little art, then the next time you go out, see, you're still going to get upset because you've been conditioned. You've conditioned yourself, really. And other people have played a part in it. So you're conditioned to have all these emotional reactions to all kinds of things. You get excited about this and bummed out about that and nervous about this and fearful of that and anxious about this and angry about that, see? Okay, so, but then now you have some objectivity because now you've learned to stand back. So now you go out in the world and then all of a sudden there's something and, you see your body getting upset. You see it. You see the irritation. See? You see it, but this time you don't indulge it. This time you watch it. This time you don't escape into it. You don't add to it. You stand back and you observe it. Now it's a little bit painful to the ego. It's humiliating to the ego to see just how weak your character is, just how easily upset you are, how easy it is to someone to get to you, and then to walk away smiling. Maybe they don't even know they got to you. You're sitting there all upset. See? And all they did was just be slow in the line. See? So it's embarrassing. But you have to learn to bear that embarrassment, that humiliation to your ego, to your pride, which, see, it's good for you to be humbled. Bear that humiliation without resenting it. Okay? So there's the first emotion and then there's the second. Now, you're conditioned to have the first emotion, but you don't have to have the second. The second is the resentment. Resentment means to feel again, to see the fact that they got to you, and then to resent them, or resent the emotion, or resent yourself, or resent the situation. See what I mean? Don't resent anything. Just observe it. See, bear the little bit of pain of seeing your wrong reaction until it'll pass. It will pass. And you will not have added fuel to the fire. And now that you're not resentful, you can observe the first reaction and actually mitigate the first reaction and eventually eliminate it, because now you're observing the first reaction in the light. See, the light has this marvelous resolving quality to it. The light is good for everything. It's good for everything. So you go out in the world, there's a situation, you see a little bit of something rising, you observe it, let it pass, and then you continue to observe, and you're observing it in the light. And the light will have a wonderful effect. And one day, the day will come when the same situation will happen and you won't feel anything. Okay? So being in the Spirit, a heavenly attitude is theirs who are in the Spirit, Christ said. Okay? Now the other thing is that your thoughts will be better too. See, now what kind of thoughts do you have? Now your thoughts arise from emotions, especially upset, anger, resentment, judgment, see? And they're not nice thoughts. You have those thoughts, or you have thoughts of futility, or thoughts of anxiety, or thoughts of something, that they're all negative. But when you're in the Spirit, see, then it touches your consciousness. God's light, truth, touches your consciousness, and it imparts something to it. And what it imparts, see, when you do your little meditation first thing in the morning, you sit there and you drag yourself to sit down somewhere, and for 5 minutes you sit there and observe whatever comes, whatever thoughts rise, you just observe them. And then now you're closer to the light, see, you're objective. But while you're sitting there, doesn't seem like you're doing much, but you know what? You actually will download a little something, a little heavenly essence, a little essence of thoughts to be, see, will be downloaded. And then you'll go out into the world and you go about your life's activities, working and doing, or going to school, or whatever you do. And then you will have good thoughts, realizations. You'll see something and you'll just realize. You'll see a principle. You'll see something you never saw before. Okay? And so it's very beautiful. So now your thoughts will be of heavenly origin instead of hellish. See, the other thing is that when you fall into thinking and submerge yourself in thinking because you want to avoid the light, you don't want to see that you failed. You don't want the humiliation of seeing that you failed again, that you became impatient, you became angry, see, or that you ran like a coward, or you exploded in anger, or you repressed and said nothing when maybe you should have said something. See, you failed. Even just becoming angry is technically a failure. Becoming irritated, becoming judgmental. You know, look at her, look at him. See, the judgment, it's a failure. Well, okay, so you don't want to see that, so then that's why you escape into thoughts and imagination. But you know what? That attitude of wanting to escape from truth, the humbling awareness of your own wrong, that attitude of wanting to escape from truth and wanting to preserve your ego, wanting to preserve your pride, that attitude calls upon a malevolent spirit. It calls upon whatever is around, okay, that sees your emotional, resentful desire to make yourself look good and not look bad. And then it approaches you through the mind, see. See, there are two sides of matter, I heard someone say, and I think it's true. There's, on one side of matter, you have the spirit that Christ talked about, and God's light. And then on the other side of matter, you have a black bottomless pit, okay? And then you have these forces, okay, or these, and whatever you want to call them, that there they are. And your mind, see, your matter is a no man's land right in the middle. And when you delve down into your mind to come up with something to save your ego, then whatever's on the other side of matter, see, then says something, then gives you something. So it'll tell you what you want to hear. And those ideas are never good. They're supportive of your pride and supportive of escape from God and denying the truth. It helps you to deny the truth. Okay? So now you see why people's thoughts and mind becomes very negative. See? And even when people try to give themselves positive thoughts, you know, with affirmations and so forth, it's still negative because they're lying to themselves, see? Or they're trying to give themselves what they really don't have, and they don't have the power to give it to themselves. So, a heavenly, what did he say? He said a heavenly attitude is theirs. Now, what is that heavenly attitude? They're willing to see the truth. See how simple that is? willing to see the truth, and humble, willing to be humbled by the truth, which is greater than you are. See, you've always tried to make excuses. You've always tried to deny the truth and escape from truth. Now you acknowledge the truth, see, and you want the truth. You want to know what the truth is. You don't want lies anymore. See, that's a heavenly attitude. And that calls down, that heavenly attitude, that willingness to know the truth and wanting to know the truth, that calls down help from your Creator, okay, who is your parent spirit, incidentally. Well, I think I'm going to stop at that point because there's a lot more. But I only got to the first verse. Maybe next time I'll go on to the second verse. Okay? My name is Roland.